Ooh, what remains indeed? A little bit of pink here. A little bit of something. Some boots. Dun dun dun. Let's find out what we got going. I am having a hard time keeping track of everything we've pulled out and what's missing. I'm hoping we're going to find some bonus items maybe, like, oh, I'm sorry, the dragon dagger just by accident fell in your box. You can just keep that. It's good. Oh, so we got some boots. These are pink. These are not. But honestly, I don't. Got a helmet. Not all the helmets have come in cloth bags. I'm kind of excited about these. The later helmets from, let's say, Ninja Steel, they would come in bags like this. So what do we have? So we have a pink boot. I believe this to be part of the Ninja Steel pink costume. So a lot of the stuff that was sent was not like one box is this costume, the other box is this costume. It was a mismatch. So we've already gone through a lot of the costume for the Pink Ranger from Ninja Steel, and these are the missing boots. Which, to be honest with you, I completely forgot that we haven't pulled them out yet. They wrapped these boots individually, but all the other boots were wrapped together. Oh, those big-ass boots. Oh, thank God, they're not degrading. So a number of the boots from various seasons, maybe like SPD, I believe Overdrive, was it? They're degrading really heavily. But these boots have a lot of wear. These have been definitely on set and being used. A lot of scuffs in the bottom, which is great. You would like to have some wear and tear to prove that they were really on set. There are times you will find props which were made for a movie, made for a TV series, but they're backup. And they were never on screen at all, but they look immaculate and they're mint and they're just as nice as the screen props that were used. So having some wear and tear on this is like, I'm very pleased about that. I don't remember. This is intriguing. Here is the other boot. I think we've seen enough boots already, so we'll put that one aside. Nothing too spectacularly unique about that. Okay. I'm taking it all in right now of what I have here. This one I'm confused with, what this is. I know what this is. This is exciting. Well, let's hit this first. So what costume do you think this one is? Oh, okay. I know what's cooking now. Okay, we're going to do, the last box will be stupendous. I'll be honest with you. The last box will be like, that's the way you end the video session with the compilation, that box. I didn't even choose it that way. It just ended up that way. So here, we will start off with just right out of the gate. Look how shiny that is. That is incredibly shiny. This is the original Pink Ranger costume for Dino Charge. Check that out. So I was shooting for a number of Dino Charge full costumes, and I set a budget in general. This is how I usually ended up with, to be honest with you, a number of the Pink Ranger and other costumes. I was shooting for like SPD Red. I was shooting for Wild Force Red. I was, let's just say, hoping, but the budget where I set parameters, it didn't work out. But I kept a parameter. If any costume went below a certain threshold, bid on it. And Shelby's outfit, I'm very happy. Pink Dino Charge. I picked it up. Take a look at it. We see some wear and tear already right there. But again, that's expected, as I mentioned. But these were wonderfully designed costumes. Look at this. I got the back. Let's pull it around. Oh, look at that. I love the emblem. The little shoulder pad they have up here. Those were absolutely, look at the little pattern here. Even the Ninja Storm seat right there, we have some condition issues. But again, that's what to be expected. Look at all the joint action there. Probably some attacks, some blocking there. But this is intact, which is great. Like after I won this costume, it was like, oh my God, I should have waited for the next season costume, and you would have gotten both costumes for the same price. And it's just, but you don't know what these costumes will be going for. At times, it was pretty easy to like figure out what the auction was going at. And then there's outliers out of nowhere. You just didn't know. And then after you won the auction, there's this big sigh of relief, like, oh my God, I got something. This is great. And at times, if you miss the things that you wanted, and as the auction gets closer and closer to getting to the end, more people are scrambling just to win anything. So when we're hitting Dino Charge already, I was just nervous the prices would just keep going up. So anyways, love the colors. Would have loved to got anybody else as well. The Aqua Ranger, I was shooting for that. I should have bid more, to be honest with you. The Purple Ranger, should have bid on more on that one. I would have loved like a matching Dino Charge costume to match this one. Would have been great, but still, I'm happy to have this. This one was not a hero costume, so it says that's not good. Elisa Joe Brown, Times Square. So this isn't even actually screen used. And I'm going to have to do a long pause on this because you're shooting for screen use. You're not looking for a costume for meet and greet advertising. So I'm not excited right now. Like, there's a big stark difference between screen used and then something for publicity. And you'll have to look at the helmet. I'll have to look at the costume because it's just, now I actually am a little bit sad because it's still a wonderful piece. But as I said, if it's not screen used, then... So I'll check into it. Maybe the Elisa Joe Brown will come up and maybe it was from the series, but having it written right there, Times Square... Yeah, let me double check everything. Maybe I missed that in the heat of the moment on bidding on the auction. That's very possible. Because even though I did my research, this was not one of the ones on the list that I was absolutely gunning for. But, I mean, it still looks wonderful, but I'm very curious now how this is going to pan out for the rest of the pieces. Because there were issues with a number of the Heritage auction pieces, like the White Ranger movie version. Those ended up being touring publicity costumes that were being advertised and screen used, and those were pulled back. And so I'll double check. I mean, most likely I made the mistake. I just didn't realize it until this moment. Let's take a look at the helmet. I suspect this will be the Dino Charge Pink Ranger helmet. Now, that doesn't mean that this helmet would also be from Times Square. They're just kind of putting pieces and parts together. But that is kind of a big blow. They're trying to shoot for anything that's actually from the series. The bag is unmarked. We did have a previous Pink Ranger. The Ninja Steel one was marked like Pink Ranger helmet. So we'll take a look at it. Dun, dun, dun. So the helmet can be screen used in comparison to the outfit. So the helmet looks really nice. It's got the latches, which is usually for stunt, but also could be in demonstration for publicity. So I can't tell. Somebody else to chime in. Maybe there's some markings that may be able to tell from the show compared to publicity for Dino Charge. But as crazy as this is, I can compare this to another Dino Charge Pink Shelby helmet. Let's check it out. So here we are. We have two Dino Thunder helmets. And this one has more of a gloss sheen to it, while this one doesn't have as much gloss to it. Everything else kind of looks like it matches up just fine. I'm not seeing other major issues. The latches are the same, everything's the same. And again, they would, I mean, I don't know, but the production would end up being when these helmets are cast. The stunt helmet, the Hero helmet and the Publicity helmet should be all made at the same time from the same molds. So there probably shouldn't be any difference at all with them. And there are no internal markings on these helmets saying what they are. So it's a long discussion on what may be what, but just the color tone is all we can go off of. This one's being shinier and this one being more metallic, but still I'm holding two helmets, so that's pretty intriguing. Let's put these away and see what else we have. Well, it is still roughly a little bit later than 2 a.m. in the morning, and I did a little break. I went on the internet, double checked the heritage auction, and yes, I actually am correct. It gives her name, Miss Jo Brown, and then it says nothing else. And as you guys saw, the label clearly says Times Square. So it's absolutely jaw-dropping how you can just say, oh, we're not going to include this aspect of the label, which denounces that it was ever screen used. So on that note, the world is a strange place indeed. So I was able to take her unique name, Miss Jo Brown, and of course go on Facebook. Lo and behold, there's a Jo Brown. She's a dancer. She was in New York City, and I messaged her on message request, and she responded within 1 minute. Isn't that crazy? It was really nice of her. And yes, she completely told me that she was a dancer and she was hired for the stage show, which was a duration. It wasn't like a Times Square meet and greet. This was a live action stage show where it probably ran a couple months for Dino Charge, and that was the costume she wore, and she had a wonderful time during it. It brought back a lot of memories for her, but nonetheless, we're still staring down the barrel of, I don't have a screen used costume. And I did pay on the lower end compared to a lot of the other costumes. The helmet will be almost impossible to compare to see if that is a screen used helmet or a Times Square helmet. I don't think there's any way to even check, to be honest with you. I mean, I may have to come back to her and ask her if she had any photos of her with the helmet, but the rest of the costume is, as I said earlier, it's a mishmash. So the gloves are marked Misa or Misada. We'll get to it all right now. But what I'm saying is the whole costume itself, like many of the other costumes here, were put together. So even though the costume spandex is from Times Square, it doesn't denote that everything else is not, including the helmet. So that's my debate for the night of, will I contact Heritage? So that being said, and being kicked in the balls, I doubt this would be the one, how she received the helmet in the stage show. So we'll pass on that stuff. We'll pass on that. I'm trying to find the rest of the stuff from Dino Charge before we move on. Nope. There we go. So let's continue on with this Dino Charge accessories. Okay, so if I'm correct from what Heritage said, the belt is also marked with the actress's name, not from the show, but from Times Square. But the gauntlets are marked from the show. So here we are, all nice and flattened out from storage, right? Pink right. That doesn't designate anything really. And pink left. So I will have to, well, that makes a big difference right there. If we have the Japanese kanji right there, that means these are original show use, because there wouldn't be Japanese kanji on Times Square gloves. Well, gauntlets. And then these are the gloves with these little silver armor. That's really nice compared to the Ninja Steel. Well, Ninja Steel had a little cover too, but the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers one didn't. So these gloves do say Hero on this one, and the same sticker saying Hero. So these are Hero. Isn't that crazy? So we have Hero gloves, which makes a big difference compared to buying an entire ensemble of just mishmash. So that's a real positive there. So we at least have gloves and gauntlets that are legit. The belt, though, from what I read, is not. It's possible this is legit, The shoulder panel, these are really cool. And it has a fair amount of wear on it. So I'll see how this lines up with the spandex, and if it doesn't line up that well, that's a good thing in general. Well, then for display purposes, not so much. So this is the belt, and again, this would have been made with all the other belts that have been screen used. I knew when I was buying this that this wouldn't open up. It would have been great if I just open it up and the little batteries are there. And same thing, Times Square, Elisa Joe Brown. So that's intriguing. Still looks very nice though. We will go back to the boot. And the boots. So on that note, we're going to move on from Dino Thunder. That is all the accessories, but still a bit of a boohoo for sure on that. So if the helmet is questionable, but it could be authentic, most likely it is. You know, the odds are between stunt, screen use, and it could be the one from the show, or the gloves, and then the boots. So, you know, long debate on that one.